I recently bought and tested all of the popular heavy-duty monitor arms, and by heavy-duty, I mean they can handle the 30-pound, 49-inch Samsung Odyssey G9. With that as the criteria, I created a list of my top monitor arm picks for every price range. I've searched for monitor arms that are close to $30, but everything in that price range can't handle the weight or width of the ultra-wide monitors, so I'll have to start at $50. The MB Ergonomic is listed for around $114, but it can consistently be purchased for $57 with a 50% off coupon. Even though this is the lowest price arm on my list, in my opinion, it is better styling than many of the more expensive options. The desk mounting system supports both grommet and clamp mount installs. It includes 3 height slots to accommodate for different desktop thicknesses. The system is a little less sophisticated than some of the clamps we'll see later in the video. It requires 2 different pieces that you need to line up to secure it to the desk. Attaching the monitor was incredibly simple, with a monitor plate that includes a locking feature to attach it to the arm. This adds some peace of mind when you're making those adjustments. Cable management uses snap-in covers on each of the arms. I prefer these snap-in covers versus something you have to screw in or a Velcro strap. Moving the monitor around is smooth, but this arm does have a little more bounce coming from up high in the arm when you compare it to some of the more expensive arms in the list. Even with this little bit of bounce, it's not bad enough that I would pull my recommendation. The tension adjustments are easy to use, so you can ensure that your G9 floats at the right height. At the maximum height, the bottom of the G9 sits at 11.5 inches off the desk. One thing to note is that Huano sells this exact monitor arm with different branding. The only differences between them seem to be cosmetic. So if you decide you want to buy this arm, I would check on Amazon to see which one of these models is cheaper, unless the color scheme really matters to you. Overwhelmed by monitor arm choices, our guide breaks down the top rated options so you don't have to. Link is down in the description. Next up is a different monitor arm from Huano. They don't really have specific names or models, so check out the links in the description so you can find the right one. You can see the much higher list price, and while I don't think it's necessarily worth $120, it does punch well above the $60 or $70 price I've been seeing it for. It comes in a warm gray matte finish that looks and feels more premium than what you'd expect at this price. Mounting includes the same clamp and grommet combo as the previous arm. You'll still get the 3 height slots on the clamp to accommodate different desktop thicknesses. The design is minimalist with a small, non-intrusive base. This is nice for saving a little desk space. Cable management is split between a snap-in cover on the bottom arm and a screw-in channel on the top. Again, I prefer those clip-in covers, but it's not a huge knock on the product. This definitely isn't the only arm that uses these screws. Once it was set up, I had 0 issues adjusting the G9 in any direction. The tension adjustments are easy to use and smooth to tune. I found this arm to be a little more stable than the NB Ergonomic arm with less movement throughout. At full height extension, the bottom of the 49-inch monitor sat at 10.25 inches off the desk. Even though I'd still consider this a budget mount, I'd say it over-delivers for the price. Right away, you can see that the monoprice is a different kind of design. This arm has a tall post at the base instead of dual arms, and that alone makes it stand out. So if you need to go super tall with your monitor, this is definitely one to consider. The monoprice arm is typically listed for $110, but it often has deals and coupons as high as $33 off, bringing it down to $77. I'd say this arm is built to be tough, more so than pretty, at least when you compare it to the more premium looks in other mid-range and high-end arms. The finish is shiny, and that can attract fingerprints easily. You'll also see big exposed bolts, especially around the massive base and long arm. The clamp attaches via dual Allen screws and includes 2 different mounting depths depending on how thick your desk is. It can be a little tricky to balance the mounting plate on the bolts as you attach it to your desk, but this is usually just a one-time operation. The monitor plate installation is also a bit awkward, using a push-tab design that's less intuitive than some of the other arms. Cable routing is handled by screw-in covers, which as I mentioned earlier, still feels a bit tedious and industrial. Alright, that didn't sound great, but there's 3 reasons that I still keep this as a recommendation. First, the chunky base design makes this a very stable arm. Second, the monitor towers at 17 inches off the desk. Finally, even though you're not getting premium materials, I feel the price properly reflects the build quality. This next pick is a bit of a diversion from the rest of the list. AriesWing offers both a dual arm and single arm design. They can both handle the 49-inch ultra-wide with no issue. I know a lot of people are moving towards vertically stacked monitor arm setups, and this handles it perfectly. It supports a range of configurations including side-by-side or stacked monitor setups. Once installed, they look great, just don't plan on repositioning them constantly. Getting two monitors perfectly aligned can be tedious, but it's worth the effort. You get two articulating arms attached to a tall central pole, making it super adjustable. With USB-A and USB-C ports in the compact base, you can charge your devices right on your desktop. Cable covers snap in easily, and the rear clip manages the slack cleanly. They have a nice matte finish available in both black or white. I'm also always happy to see when the bolts and hardware match the arm color for that consistent look. If you want to stick with just that single monitor, you can get that Aries wing in a single monitor mount for about $82. With the Ergotron HX, we step up into the premium monitor arm category. The HX is on Amazon for about $320, and it's the most polished experience from start to finish. The matte finish white base and arms have subtle gray accents, giving it a refined design. The clamp uses a toolless dual bolt system and offers 3 height adjustments to accommodate different desktop thickness. Every part of the arm is modular and removable, making installation clean and simple. Cable management is solid, with the bottom having a snap-in cover, and then it has a screwed-in Velcro strap for the top arm. As I said earlier in the video, I don't love these Velcro straps, but a sleek fix is to add a white AlexTech sleeve to run cables up through the arm. Once installed, this arm is rock solid, and tension adjustments are precise. The G9 floated perfectly at 10¼ inches off the desk. I would recommend these premium style arms to those that both want their setup to look its absolute best and also if they want super smooth movement and adjustments. While they aren't drastically different in style or stability, but if you want the very best, there is definitely a difference when you shell out the money. Speaking of the very best, the Humanscale M8 is the sleekest arm in the group and one of my personal favorites. This is actually the arm we've been using to hold our G9 since we bought it. You can choose from polished aluminum with white trim, silver with gray trim, or black with black trim to really match your setup. It uses a large base with a removable plastic cover that hides the clamp bolts. This is the only arm on the list that lets you restrict the swivel motion to 180 degrees. This is a nice touch if your desk is up against a wall. A unique feature is how the Humanscale arm really hides all the adjustment screws, giving it a very minimalist look. You also get a tool-free removal for the monitor plate via a release button, rather than the set screw method that most monitor arms use. Humanscale also hides a button that lets you detach the top arm. Cable management includes a recessed channel on the top arm and a discrete snap-in lower cover. Everything routes cleanly with no exposed fasteners. Like Ergotron, this option comes at a high cost, but it's been a great home for our G9 for over a year, and we've had zero issues using it on a standing desk. Quick bonus pick, if you want a more stylized product with some nice features, check out the Secretlab Magnus HD for $350. The finish is a mix of matte and gloss black, with red accents and a subtle Secretlab logo on the base. The clamp uses a bolt-down method that pinches firmly on the desk and feels extremely secure. The monitor plate locks in first and then secures with a rear bolt. It's a very stable setup all around. Cable management uses magnetic channels that snap on and off easily. The only problem is I'm not sold that the magnets are strong enough. It was very solid and smooth, though awkward to reposition using the built-in handles. For me, just grabbing the monitor directly felt easier. If you're still not sure which arm to buy, click the link in the description for our guide.